Uh-huh.
because YouTube copyright is like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, we
Uh-huh.
should be allowed to be heard by the audience. I will check on the YouTube video as well if people can hear us.
All right. I currently have it up, so.
It has a slight delay, so maybe not
Yeah.
yet, but
Uh-huh. Oh,
because YouTube
I heard
copyright
my
is
own
like,
voice.
yes, I can
Yeah.
hear, yeah, I can hear us. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
excellent.
Right. I'm gonna like move slightly further back from my mic because I might be being loud. I have a bad tendency of doing that. I
That's
also very much sound like I have a cold.
Oh, no
That
problem.
happens. That happens.
I'm kind of under the weather as well. I have been for like a week now,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
Uh-huh. That is understandable. It could also be because I stayed up far, far too late. You always know that you stayed up too late when people that you know on the other side of the world start like getting up and doing things.
Yeah,
That's how you know that you've
yes,
very
exactly.
slightly
Yeah, I've
overdone
done it
it.
so many times with internet friends, and sometimes it's not me. It's sometimes it's them that they're like up
Uh-huh.
really late.
Yeah, no, I used to have a little group of folks in like New Zealand or something, and whenever they started like getting on call, that's when I realized that I've very much overdone it because their day is ending, and it's like 5 in the morning now.
Oh dear. Yeah,
Um,
has happened quite a lot with me, or that my internet friends who are in the same time zone as me, they are still up at like
uh-huh.
3 a.m. and then I'm like, why are you still
Yeah,
up? Go to sleep.
yeah. Oh gosh, time zones create incredible shenanigans. It is wonderful for connecting people across the world, the whole internet thing, but time zones are wild. Especially as you said with people in your own time zone. That there are some people like that where I always see them up at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I know for a fact that you're in the same time zone. You should be sleeping.
yeah, exactly.
Um.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I can't sleep, I'll just check on my phone, like, or when I wake up at midnight, I'll just
Mm-hmm.
check my phone, and then it'll be like 3 a.m. and then
Uh-huh.
I can see just which of my internet friends from my time zone are still online, and sometimes they're just still online, and I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
you're here.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I also just have terribly bad habit of getting on call and then staying up all night because of that.
Yeah, yeah, I would find it very
'Cause
difficult to turn on to leave a call once I start, but
uh-huh.
you gotta go sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, especially because people I usually call with are actually behind me, so it'll be like 3 a.m. for me and they're still, 10
Oh
and
yeah, okay.
that makes it a little bit tough because I'm always the one who has to be like, sorry folks, I
Yes,
gotta sleep so I don't die, you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm ahead of you, right? Like
Yeah.
okay.
By a pretty good margin. Yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
it's always difficult. Like I have so many internet
mhm.
friends from so many different places, so
Mhm.
it's sometimes difficult to keep
Yeah.
track of who is who, who's where.
Yeah, no, I very much get that. Back in my younger days, I suppose, I used to just be online and open chat rooms and places all the time on phone call stuff. I forget what on earth the app was. It was whatever. So there were regulars from like all over the world who knew me, and once some folks started waking up, as I said, that's how you know it's time to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, yep.
So how are you?
hmm
Aside from kind of sick.
I'm doing. I'm doing mostly good. I got the most recent book done and edited.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
always fun. Um, uh, yeah, just kind of working on future stuff because I'm probably gonna do a big remodeling of all my book stuff coming up. I haven't
So
fully figured everything out,
what are you
but
going to
got
remodel?
lots of big
Like
stuff.
in what sense?
Well, firstly, obviously we're at the end of the second series, Dogs of Spires, and I do have plans for more after that. But I think I might rebrand future series and not call them Dogs of Spires, even though they are a continuation.
Mhm.
Um, just because it would get more readers, especially since I plan on doing stuff that doesn't require you to have read the previous stuff. That after a big time skip and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Um, so like coming up with a different name, and especially because they will be of a higher quality. Like when I began Dogs and Spires, I was not that excellent at writing, especially not excellent at editing. Gosh, the first ones are kind of a mess. It,
Yes, I'm
but
familiar with my old writing.
yeah. So personally, I think it's fair because the story, even the quality of the story grows along with the character and the world. Which is kind of just my excuse. To be honest, that's sort of my excuse for the first ones not being all that great. Is that main guy's young, the world's all young and new. Of course, it's a little rough around the edges, but future books much more polished. So you know, may
Oh,
also try to
awesome.
work with a publisher and some other future stuff, which is another reason why I would want to
Oh, you want to work
remodel.
with a real publisher? Like for?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm working on that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Gosh, I just realized that there are a lot of easier ways than trying to, for lack of better terms, trying to contact the old gods of like HarperCollins and Scholastic, like the
Oh
really
yeah.
big publishers. That basically those ones you need an expensive agent to even be allowed to like grovel at their feet. So there are a lot of smaller publishers out there that are actually reachable and not scary, massive,
Yeah.
giant corporations. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be looking into that, especially
Oh,
because I
nice.
have a lot of plans to diversify now that I'm done with Rebirth, because just way too many notes of plans of like miniseries and standalones that are all throughout the same universe but are very, very different in concept. So gonna be working on that. Gonna deal with some people, which to be honest, the reason why I never wrote about people was because I hated describing clothing. That was like the
Oh
biggest
yeah.
thing was person walks in the room and I got to be like, okay, so they're wearing blue pants and a red shirt. I was terrible at describing clothing or even like imagining clothing. So I was like, all right, they don't have to wear clothes. They're dogs.
Yeah.
Uh, so now I'm more confident in my capacity to describe clothing. So
Ah, nice.
hmm
Yeah, that's one
Anyway,
thing
that
I'm not probably not going to tackle for a while when writing. Just
uh-huh.
writing people characters, mostly because
Mm-hmm.
I personally find writing xenofiction to be more enjoyable, but also because
Oh yeah.
yeah, like coming up with outfits and stuff, it's so difficult.
Mhm. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. I adore the style of xenofiction. I love the possibilities. Okay, a lot of it I do. Some series just feel like this could have been a human story with changing like literally nothing. It
Yeah,
feels like made it dogs or wolves or whatever just kind of for the sake of it. So I do my best to, make it very integral to the world that the characters are not human, um, even if they do display a lot of human tendencies.
yeah, well,
So,
there's like clearly dogs in Dogs of the Spires at least.
hmm
So
yeah, I try to keep that up, especially once we get to, without spoiling anything for anybody watching, if anybody has any faintest idea what on earth I'm talking about, once we meet more advanced civilizations within Dogs as Spires, you walk a fine line of, you know, not not making them too not dog-like,
oh
because
yeah,
better tech, better stuff that they do. So uh, big balancing act. But all in all, for someone who had no idea what I was doing and no plan when I started Dogs as Spires, I think I've done pretty all right with the series overall.
yeah, I think
No
so.
regrets. Uh, mhm,
So yeah, I think you did a good job even in the early books. I mean, I'm pretty sure all
mhm.
my reviews are positive for Dogs of the
Yeah.
Spires, even the first books. Like I do sometimes have like little feedback
Mhm.
points, but obviously
Mhm.
that goes for most books. Like there's very rarely
Uh-huh.
that I like have no remarks whatsoever. So
Yeah. 100%.
but yeah, they definitely
And on
improve.
mhm.
Like the recent books have definitely been like even better than the first ones.
Mhm.
So there is like a clear
Yeah.
line of improvement. so to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which hopefully I think the people reading can, appreciate that
Yeah.
because it really this was my return to writing after several years of just doing nothing at all. I still have held on to all my oldest manuscripts, but they're bad. They are
Yeah, I know the
ooh they
story. Like I told you about some of my old stories earlier, like I think
mm-hmm.
like 2 weeks ago or something. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
still have most of them. I tried not to
Mm-hmm.
delete them, but yeah, to call them
Mm-hmm.
like even decent would be very generous. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get that. Gosh, oof. One of the old things I remember, um, this was, I think, my very first attempt at like properly writing anything. So I was pretty reasonably young. Had this old, okay, it was a lot less ancient at the time, but I had this ancient, like, behemoth of a laptop, like a huge, just completely massive thing, becomes hotter than the sun after
yeah,
5 minutes of running
I'm
type
familiar. I have one
laptop.
like that
It
as well.
Yeah, and I wrote a fair bit on there. Wrote my first little story, which I ended up having printed out, and then when I asked my mother to help proofread, which I was again pretty young at the time, she just well, rightfully so. I asked for help proofreading, and she kind of rightfully tore it apart because it it was not good. It was a mess in terms of grammar and everything.
Oh
So I
yeah.
got really frustrated with that, and then I stopped writing at my very young. Gosh, I'm really bad at like remembering what age I was at any point. I do remember being pretty reasonably young, but I've also gently been doing writing for like forever. So long time ago. Regardless, I managed to fish out that manuscript out of the laptop. I managed to get the ancient laptop functioning.
Oh nice.
So I have it. I actually have several versions of it because for some reason I wrote several versions with like minute details changed. And what it is great for is that back then I was much better at coming up with names. Okay, slightly better at coming up with names. There was, one character whose name was just literally just named Virus. I don't know why. I think I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it sounds
Um,
cool.
mhm.
It does sound cool.
Yeah, no, it was like basically there was some sort of like a weird zombie plot that was happening. It was a really weird one. Though for the most part I've been able to steal a bunch of names that I came up with when I was a much younger lad because if nothing else I was good with the names. So now I reuse the cool names for dogs as spires and they're Easter eggs for literally just myself.
Oh nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do often try, like, when I can't think of a name. I have like a Discord server for myself. Oh, hold
Mm-hmm.
on for one moment. I've got to mute myself because
All right.
someone is knocking on my door. Hold on.
That's all right.
I'm just going to leave the call because I don't know how to mute myself. Hold on. Mm, yeah. Um, okay, I should be back. Can you hear me?
Ah,
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, one of my someone walked in with a package for me, so I had
yeah,
to receive it.
that's understandable.
No, yeah, basically I have like some old characters and old names I just reuse, but I also have like a Discord server where I just post a lot of my like story notes and ideas and stuff. And I also
Hmm.
just have a channel where anytime I come across like a cool sounding name somewhere or I think of one, I
Hmm.
just type it in there, so I definitely remember.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's very good for keeping it organized. I have certainly considered it just making a private Discord for just myself for notes, but I'm far too deep into my not very organized note scheme to change now. So I continue going along with my probably at least 20,000 words worth of notes that I
Oh
all
dear.
keep on my phone. Um, but hey, at least it means I can access them anywhere as long as I have my phone on me. So
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, that's definitely very smart. Like I consider doing a Google Docs or something like that for my notes, but
mm-hmm,
it's just I don't know. I can't technically access Google Docs or the Drive for my from my phone. But I don't know, I
Yeah.
prefer to just have them like on hand easily, and I'm just not a big fan of the Notes app. I know that you use it, but it's just not
Hmm.
something I enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of just have like a Discord server for whenever I
Yeah.
have an idea, I'll just dump it in there. And
Hmm.
because I have like the 4G or whatever, so I have internet wherever.
Hmm.
So I'll just dump
Yeah.
any ideas. I'll just dump it in my own Discord.
Yeah, no, that is very much understandable and honestly better for keeping organized. There's a lot of fun organizational things that you can do that you can't do in a very simplistic notes app that was very much not meant for this volume of text. But um
Like I did
uh
recently go through my notes, and I did actually find
mhm,
some like very old story notes from like
mhm,
before I was using the Discord. I did actually find
mhm.
some really old notes, but it's
Oh,
mostly
nice.
it wasn't that good.
Uh,
But
fair
to be
enough.
fair, none of
Fair
my
enough.
old stories are good. So I mean,
Mhm.
like sometimes I'll think back about them, and I do have most of them, so I sometimes read them for fun,
Mhm.
but it's not very good, especially since the first ones I started to write in English, since it's not my native
Mhm.
language. Yeah, the
Mhm.
grammar is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, no, I get you there. Um, gosh, I just have very deep notes because it really my just general approach is that any idea, anything that I even think about for like more than a minute ends up in there. So I have notes about so many stories that I doubt I'll ever touch. Um, like I have I have a surprising amount of it's sort of vague urban fantasy type concept with like werewolves or something,
Mhm.
and I doubt I'll ever do anything with it. But for a very brief period, I was very fascinated by urban fantasy stuff. So I was like, hey, I could do that. So I just have a bunch of notes on it that I doubt I'll ever do anything with.
Yeah, I have so many stories that I just have like a couple of notes for, not even a whole lot,
Hmm.
and just stories I plan to write in the future. Recently, I
Hmm.
organized like my toy house, which is like a site where you can like store your characters and story ideas.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm
recently
familiar with that.
updated it to like have all my story ideas that I want to do sometime in the future, and it's basically
Uh
huge.
huh.
So yeah,
Hmm.
no idea how
Yeah.
I'll ever get to them, because I mean I don't write as fast as you, so I will I probably won't have time to write all the stories for a long time, but
Hmm.
I'll try anyways.
Hey, no, that's really the only way to be. You just gotta keep working at things. Eh, Especially because there are always a lot of constraints on writing with how much time you even have available. That's always something that can be difficult. So fair enough. As long as you're working at it, you're writing. I'm sure that you will get to at least some of the backlog. That's that's kind of how it always goes because you get to some of it, and suddenly there's three more to fill
Yeah,
in whatever you've just
exactly.
done.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But so yeah,
Yeah.
I have too many ideas and too little time.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I get that, which is my big like constraining factor is the fact that I'm doing everything in the same universe. That's like the one thing that keeps me organized is that I have a universal timeline that I have to adhere to in terms of every big story has, well, for lack of a better term, it has prerequisites. It has stories that I have to write before I get there. Like for example, Series 3 Dogs as Aspires. I have at least two other mini series and like one standalone that have to be written before that point because they provide some insight into concepts that we'll see there. And honestly, mostly it's just for my own purposes, so I understand those concepts before jumping into books where they're going to be used more. Obviously, they'll be reintroduced in those books, but
Oh yeah.
having just a personal idea of what's going on, getting that figured out with events that take place a long time before the book book series that is kind of the way that I'm approaching things. I just have a big massive network of stories that I have to keep manageable, so it really a lot of it is just kind of coming up with an order of if somebody is reading through all my books right now as they're coming out, as they're being published, they'll have a pretty cohesive idea of the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, yeah, obviously set it up in set it up in mind for people who come in later, but definitely it really especially geared towards those who just read in publishing order. Even though there are some things that are a little bit out of order, like the Ruins of Greatness standalone for the first series, I should have written that at like the midpoint rather than after the first series was over, because the end of the first series kind of spoils it. But for the most part, it's it works.
Yeah, I still have to like. I'm trying not to put. I told you before. I'm trying not to put too many stories in one world, just because
Hmm.
I know for myself I will just get confused. So
Yeah, no.
I'm just trying to do like my main trilogy that I'm working on, and then after
Hmm.
that, like a few, or while I'm writing it, to be honest, like a few
Hmm.
side stories. But aside from that,
Hmm.
I'm trying not to, yeah, not to like set too many stories in the world. But I do have like
Hmm.
kind of have to struggle like when do I publish the short stories, since I really want to get to them, but
Hmm.
they also kind of spoil like main story events. So
Yeah. No, believe me, I get that feeling. That's I have so many short stories that I'm compiling for the next field guide that I really want to release them, but they just have too many spoiler details, especially because the field guides are it's so dumb that I'm making the field guides like cosmically important. But they do play into the bigger picture. They're a part of the transition from Dogs to Spires to like more series throughout the universe. So like, you know, um, I I do work on that. Do continue to compile. And hopefully, I will get the next field guide out relatively soon because I was planning on delaying, but it's just a mess. Figuring out the logistics of the field guide is always a mess because it needs so many illustrations and whatnot. But
yeah, yeah, that makes
you know,
sense, especially since
hmm
like you need to commission them, I think. So
yeah, I mean, I do. If I, well, this is probably like a really kind of duh statement, but I need to commission them if I want a commissioned look. My other alternatives are I could, pick up a pencil myself and embarrass myself incredibly. Or there is, technically speaking, some promise in artificial art if I'm willing to just have everything be, well, a total mess and not try to force it to seem like a human made it, just submit to the will of the just utter mess that comes out of those
yeah,
machines. I am considering that because it would honestly fit the themes of this field guide. This one is a little bit more themes of an unraveling world. So having all the illustrations be, well, distorted and strange would be kind of on
yeah, that would
point.
make sense.
Um, yeah, especially because, well, we have a narrator character who can just kind of tell the audience that, hey, these things that you're about to see are not fully accurate representations. That's because everything's kind of a little bit slightly coming undone. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. Um, and then that also gives a good, like, foreshadowing for the main stories that take place in the field guide, because this one we're going a little more on like the connectivity of the stories, whereas in the previous one they were almost all entirely separate. This time we're gonna have a few little storylines that are followed through
Oh yeah,
with
I think
the
you let me
different
read some
shorts.
of those, right? Like the one
Yeah.
with what was his name? Like the human of Maggie
Oh,
and
yeah, the
Belle, I think was what
what
was your name?
uh Belle was one of them, and then Sophia, the
Oh yeah,
trial of
Sophia.
Sophia
That was the
Solemn
last
was
one.
the other one. Uh-huh. And now, speaking of Maggie's human person, I really need to at some point find a way to confirm his name because he does have a canon name. It's just not written anywhere at all. Someday I'll finally find an excuse to actually confirm that he does
Great.
in fact have a name. Yes. Hmm?
Yeah,
What'd you say?
yeah. I wonder what his
Uh-huh.
name is by now. I mean, he's been
Uh,
in a few books and in a few
hmm.
stories, so
Yeah,
it's cool to have an
well,
actual name to put to him.
yeah, well, I will say his name is not 100% set in stone, but probably his name is like Keith or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, Yeah, so I do need to get honestly I might edit his short for this field guide to like include his name somewhere in there because I'm not sure if I'll get like another excuse to because I don't know if I'll have any more things checking up with him. I might, who knows. I have a million just ideas, but probably I should confirm that within this one, especially because let's just say that if I'm going to be writing future stories about humans, we may have an offhand reference to him. So, having his name confirmed here would be good to be able to confirm that that is him.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, that is probably something that I should do. Uh, See, it's funny. Talking about book stuff always makes me think of things that I haven't thought of before. So, you know, that's
Yeah,
always
big
fun.
mood.
Mm-hmm,
Relate.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I am going to need to look for a character design for this guy that I'm drawing right now.
All right.
Because he doesn't have a design yet.
Ah, fair enough, fair enough.
So I have like a lot of character designs I adopted from other
Mm-hmm.
people, but I gotta find one
Mm,
that fits.
mm-hmm.
I want like an agouti wolf, like with the standard wolf
Mm-hmm.
pattern, but mm,
Mm-hmm.
this is like the main villain from the book that I'm writing,
Ah,
so he needs a cool
fair
design.
enough. Oh yeah, no, I get that. I went very, very basic with my first main villain because you know.
Yeah, but he is iconic in all the same ways, so
Yeah, that is the good thing is you gotta kind of balance, at least some semblance of simplicity with being iconic, or alternatively just fully submit to the will of complex character design, which I'm just too lazy when it comes to consistently describing characters. Almost all of them have like two colors. They have like the most boring coat pattern, but that's how it goes
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, that's how like with Dark Stones. I try to have
Hmm.
very very simple character designs as well.
Hmm.
Most of them
Fair
have
enough.
like 2 to 3 colors, and there's a few
Hmm.
exceptions, but most of them have like really easy easy designs. Mostly because it's also easier for me to draw.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that is understandable. Oof. Sometimes I wish that I was a lot better at drawing. I know that all it takes is practice. Back in the past, I used to be better than I was because if for a little bit there, I sat down and I practiced and I learned, and I used to take commissions for a very very brief period. Got
Nice.
like a few people, and they were not good. They were very not good, but people were willing to spend like for my just because I was so cheaply priced, people were willing to try it, and there are a couple of things I made that were decent, but a lot of them, even thinking of them, I shake my head. It's but you know, I mostly just focus on writing, obviously, and I also keep getting distracted by the stream because the art process. I understand why people watch art streams. It's very interesting to watch the process. Um, I was saying something, right?
You were saying something that you were writing and that
Mhm.
that you were
Yeah,
mostly writing and
yes.
that you were distracted by the stream or something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I could focus on art and like get that figured out again and like actually get good at it with a lot of practice. I understand that it is a lot of practice and effort that goes into it. There are, some things that you can directly learn, but a lot of it's just, trial and error, getting that
Yeah,
figured
true.
out. I understand that. I just yeah, I've kind of picked my skill with writing, and that's what we go with. Yeah, I just keep a sketchbook for pretty much all the big scary animals and some of the main characters. I have the official sketches that never see the light of day, but I have those for mostly just my own personal reference, and I have maps. I have maps of different places just
Oh,
so I keep descriptions consistent. Even though I really need a map for this next field guide. I just don't know what on earth to make the map of. Because the whole area beyond the spires is kind of big.
yeah, it's
Um,
true.
so it's also I don't fully know where some things are located in relation to one another either. That's kind of one issue is that I just sort of vaguely put them there. The only thing that I know where everything is located is within capital, within the heart of the order there. I
Oh,
have a little drawn map of like every important building. Everything else, big shrug. There's like a hill somewhere and there's some fields and that's about it. So, you know,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
but
same with,
honestly,
with my story. I don't even have
hmm
a single map. I just know in the Darkstones territory, I know everything
hmm
where it is just by heart.
hmm
But as soon as we go outside
hmm
of Darkstones territory, it's all just a big fake
yeah.
blur. I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That was definitely my approach in the beginning because I just had no idea at all what I was gonna do with any of the books. To be honest, I didn't even know what the territories looked like. I was probably most of the way through writing First Light when I actually sat down and decided to figure out where the other territories are. Um, so it's good that you know where things are. That is very nice to know early on.
Yeah,
I was just foolish.
yeah. I should probably get like a map or something for myself
Mhm.
just to know where everything's located in my own story. But on the other hand, it's 90% of the story takes place in the same territory. So as long as I
Yeah.
know where everything's located in there, we're pretty safe.
Yeah. That's entirely fair. Um Definitely, if I get into past series two. Once I get to series three, I'm planning on doing everything more professionally. So probably what I'll do is I'll start with a map. I'll just fully warrior cat style get
Oh
a
yeah,
map, have that at the beginning of the book. Maybe even do the whole character list thing at the beginning. Just for the sake of comprehension. It's a little late to to do that for regular Dogs and Spires, but I might, get that a little more set up in the future since I actually know what I'm doing. So yeah,
yeah, that sounds cool.
that.
Yeah, I do have like the
hmm
character list, mostly also for myself because
hmm
I constantly forget what everyone looks like. I mean,
hmm
the characters I have drawn, I don't forget, but as there's a lot of characters I have yet to draw, so when
hmm
I just forget what they look like all the time.
Yeah, no, 100%. I get that. I am it. There's a reason why whenever I'm writing, I have literally every other thing that I've. Well, okay, the rest of Dogs Aspires, all of that. The original series, the rest of Rebirth. I have the field guide. I have Misty and Burn, and have everything up at all times because I'm constantly going back for reference.
Yeah,
Some of that
I
is, of
do often
course.
have that too. Yeah, I just have the
Mm-hmm.
older chapters up, and I'll just Control F
Mm-hmm.
and look for what
Oh
was this
yeah.
location, what was this spec named.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No. I get that. Eh, Oof. Mostly it is for like design of character stuff, especially eye color. If you pay attention, you notice that I do my best to avoid referring to what color any character's eyes are too often because I'm kind of a little bit lazy and I refuse to go back and search every time it needs to be mentioned.
Yeah,
So the important
I know a few
characters.
characters' eye colors. I know Step has
Mm-hmm.
like golden brown.
Mm-hmm.
Duchess and Duke have like amber. I
Duchess
think
and Duke have more of like a gold kind of bit,
okay.
yellow gold kind of something. Let's see.
I think what was his name? Jack had like turquoise or teal or
Yes,
what
the
was
uh
it?
the the incredible like turquoise eyes of Jack or certainly something. I think of those sometimes because that's like the most unrealistic of all the eye colors. Technically, it very much worked in that scenario considering the whole Jack plot line, but uh you know, oh boy. Can
Yeah,
I remember any of them off the
try
top of
to
my head?
remember
That's a good question.
any others. Of course, Burn has the very unique the
hmm
pink ones.
Yeah, the pink eyes.
I
Um
think like Auburn, I'm not sure, but I know that Hope had like green eyes.
Yeah, Auburn and Hope both had green, but Auburn's were like a dull green. Hope's were vibrant because she was like a pup in the first series, so that kind of
Oh,
carries on.
I
hmm
always kind of imagined like Auburn and Hope as being like really similar to looking to one
Yeah,
another.
no,
So
I believe it is specifically described when Hope like first shows up, that one of the first things Step thinks is that she literally just looks like a smaller version of Auburn. Like they
Oh,
are very similar in appearance. Um, so yeah.
I'm trying to remember any others.
Hmm.
Ooh, I thought hunters were blue. Alex is probably also.
Yeah, let's see. Hunters were like blue gray. Alex's were like a deep blue, like a darker kind of
Oh yeah,
color, which is also not particularly realistic, but you know.
it's
Um,
fine. It's a fantasy.
yeah, it is a fantasy, and I make the excuse of the fact that, you know, this is the future. Anything could have happened.
Yeah, and
Dogs
these
can
aren't the
cry
type
now,
of dogs
so
that they used to be. They're kind of like
exactly.
modified, adapted, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, they definitely changed a lot. Oh, 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. I need to mute.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
All right, great.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, we're talking about eye colors, right? The
Yeah, I
whole
think so.
that. Yeah. Gosh, I know that I remember a few of the like relevant eye colors. Let's see. Um, Mostly it's the first series stuff that I actually remember the eye colors of. Misty had green eyes, that was relevant. Even though in her official art she originally had blue eyes, which it's funny twice two entirely independent incidences of her having blue eyes in official art um happened, and I did get them corrected, but she just seems like the sort to have blue eyes, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's
I
because she's like a river, like kind of like a river
Yeah.
swimming dog, and blue
Mm-hmm.
water.
Yeah, no, she definitely gives off that feeling, which, to be honest, I do have, without saying anything, let's just say that nowhere is a strange place, and who knows, maybe we will give her blue eyes through some strange magic. I don't know.
That would be
I'm
interesting.
it's not like I'm the writer. Um Yeah, gosh, she has green currently. Last time that we saw her, anyway. Other relevant characters. I know that Flair has like amber kind of
Yeah, that
eyes.
that fits with her like her fire theme she has
Mm-hmm,
going on.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Vigil has like they're described as being reddish, but in his official art, they are just like straight red. So, um, definitely some sort of red kind of ish color. Um, what other important characters are there? There are a few characters whose eye colors are just never described. Charles being one of them, his eyes are described as being dark and small and beady, and that's all that we get. We never get the actual color. Um, eh, I think Robin, it takes until like series 2 to actually get his eye
I
color.
don't even
Um,
remember Robin's eye color, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it was finally referenced at some point in series 2. What's funny is that Robin is actually never described in series 1. He's described as being a small squirrely dog, and that's it. He's described as squirrely. We don't actually get to know what he looks like at any point in the original series. And I think I finally confirmed that he has like gray fur like a squirrel at some point in series 2.
Like
But for
that's
the
funny. Squirrels over here in the Netherlands, we do
Mhm,
have gray squirrels, but they're basically like an invasive
mhm,
species. The squirrels over here are like
mhm.
orange red. So I always kind of
Yeah.
imagined Robin as like
Mhm.
orange red.
That's entirely fair, to be honest. That is entirely fair. Gosh, sometimes I forget that like there's a lot of squirrels worldwide. I've traveled enough to see like some really cool like black ones and other colors of squirrel, but I always just imagine them as the gray ones because that's what I'm most familiar with. But you know, that's entirely fair. He's just a squirrely dog. That's his primary
Description.
descriptor, and hmm in like almost every time that he shows up, he's always described as squirrely. Like that word comes up like every single time,
Yeah, I do
mostly because
remember
I
that.
find it very funny. Um, uh, yeah, that's
He's just
him. Gosh,
tiny.
other. Yeah, no, he's a small boy, and technically, Step is also very
Yeah, Step
small.
isn't
It's
that big. I keep forgetting that. Like,
uh
because he's a main character, usually those are the
uh
kind of like the prouder, bigger characters.
mm-hmm,
But he's consistently being
uh
described as like kind of smallish. So
Yeah, no, he's very much described as small throughout everything, which usually isn't relevant. A few characters refer to him as being a little dog, and at one point, in this is not like a plot relevant thing. It's just a funny detail in book 6 of Rebirth. He struggles to like get up something, because like he's too short. He's just a small boy who
oh yeah,
can't can't get up. So Hope has to help him at one point. Um but usually it's not really referenced. I believe that um it's funny. This is like sort of this determined the original interaction between him and Raven because originally I was wanting him to like tower over her. And then I realized, oh wait, he's short, so that's why she's like laying down when she first sees him, so he can still tower even though he's like
oh
a
yeah.
small boy. Um, uh,
Yeah, he's
um,
adorable. I always thought of him
mhm,
as like kind of like a husky size because people often
mhm,
underestimate or like overestimate how big
mhm.
huskies are.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely a husky size is like a good sort of comparison. I think he is like a little taller come Rebirth, just but definitely a few characters do still refer to him as being a little dog. So he's not big.
It's not at all. Yeah, I
hmm
keep imagining like Raven as like this really big dog.
hmm
Also because
Yeah,
she's
no,
like she's resembles Duke,
hmm
and Duke in my eyes has always been like
hmm
quite big, like a
yeah, 100%.
Doberman sized ish.
hmm Yeah, no, Raven's tall. That's brought up a few times. And Duke was, well, scary. No, no matter how big he was, he was just a scary guy. So yeah, no, I would say it's very fair to think of them as well, think of both her and Duke as being pretty good sized. Um, so yeah,
Okay, I am almost done with this drawing. I think I'm going to end the
all right,
stream after that.
all
I
right.
just realized I gave him the wrong eye color. Oh dear.
Ah,
Like I got the blue color right, but the
mm-hmm,
green isn't bright enough. It has to be like a kind of vibrant green.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, after all that discussion of eye colors.
Yeah, sorry.
Uh-huh.
I didn't learn
That's
anything.
that's fair. That is understandable. Believe me, I've misdescribed characters' eye colors a few times over, so I
One
get
of my
that.
old stories, like the really old ones that are good in
Mm-hmm.
Dutch, was also basically like a wolf story,
Mm-hmm.
and I had like no character description list. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
every character that didn't have like any major presence, their
Mm-hmm.
eye and fur color basically changed in like every other chapters.
Oh
It's quite
gosh,
embarrassing.
yeah.
I believe I had like the main character's mother had her eye colors go from like pale green to
Mm-hmm.
like yellowish green to like yellow
Mm-hmm.
or something along those lines in like a few
Yeah.
chapters.
Yeah, no, I get that. There is like one thing that I did for like remedying that for my background characters is firstly almost never describe what the background characters look like. That certainly gets out of making errors. And the other way was simply with background characters have a few of them that I know what they look like and they just gently appear in the background of every scene. They're just extras. So if specific background characters need to be described, then that's them,
Well,
which
that's
is
actually
how,
really
which is,
smart because my background characters
mm-hmm,
constantly change description and whatnot.
uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's how I did it, and funnily enough, that's actually how Jack started out. Jack appears in the background of at least book 3 of the original series. Jack is back there, and Do is referenced in book 2 of the original series. So just gently knowing at least the names of a few background characters and like their descriptions is kind of how I did it. So.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think I am drawn down. Sorry,
All right.
I think I am done drawing for today because I've drawn more than I have
Mm-hmm.
drawn in weeks.
Hey, fair enough.
um,
You did good.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna end the stream about here. I've drawn like
All right.
4 reference sheets, one full picture, and a request. So I think I'm
Oh,
good for
nice.
today.
Mm-hmm. That's understandable.
Okay, going to end the stream. Thank you everyone for watching, and thanks Ethan for joining.
Thank you for having me.
How do I